Greetings from our channel. With 22 Grammy Awards and over 65 songs that have appeared on the Billboard Hot Country Songs list, Vince Gill is a legendary figure in the country music industry where dreams come true. But underneath the glittering lights of celebrity is a tragic and dramatic tale. Did anybody realize that behind the songs that captured our hearts, Vince had to fight hard and suffer in silence? Let's go back to Vince's early years in the little Oklahoman town of Norman and trace his path to joining the Eagles, one of the best bands ever, with more than 150 million records sold worldwide. Even this spectacular success, however, was unable to protect him from great loss. The tragic deaths of loved ones, financial setbacks that resulted in losses of $5 million, and the weight of maintaining a famous musical legacy made his life a tale of grief and resiliency. What then is the true meaning of Vince Gill's smile? Why did he decide to speak out and reveal the scars that had plagued him for so long? Come along as we explore this captivating story where joy and sorrow converge to paint a picture of one of the greatest musicians of all time, full of passion and power. Early years. Vince Gill, the youngest of Jaron and Stan Gill's 3 children, was born on April 12, 1957, in Norman, Oklahoma, a little town where music appeared to flow like a river through every street corner. Imagine a cozy, welcoming house where his father, J. Stanley Gill, was an avid musician who often played the guitar and banjo in the evenings, in addition to being a lawyer. In addition to teaching Vince how to play those instruments, Stan instilled a strong passion for music in his young son. Jaron, Vince's mother, was also instrumental in forming the family's musical heritage from a young age. Together with her spouse, she created lovely songs while singing and playing the harmonica. Vince had a deep and varied taste of music as a result of the Gill family getting together to listen to the Grand Ole Opry on the radio, along with the rock and roll acts of the day. In addition to their love of music, Vince's parents were avid golfers, a sport that Vince would eventually take up. Learning to pluck old Shep at the age of 5, he began playing a guitar that had formerly belonged to his grandmother. He made treasured memories with his half-brother Bob when they played Long Tall Texan by the Beach Boys on a local radio broadcast only 3 years later. Additionally, Vince learned how to play the guitar from a local musician called J. Julian Akins, which stoked his love of music even more. Even as a young kid, Vince drove himself to become proficient on a variety of instruments, including the dobro, violin, banjo, mandolin, and bass guitar. His first performances took place at school when he boldly carried his guitar to amuse his classmates with songs like The House of the Rising Sun. When Vince took the stage for the first time as a teenager, he was apprehensive. His pulse raced from the bright lights and the hundreds of eyes on him, but his worries seemed to vanish as soon as the music began. At one point, Vince said, "I was trembling, but the music got me through it all." From those simple but significant moments, a little boy's ambition started to take form in his heart, leading him along a journey of feeling and promise that would eventually make Vince a well-known figure in the music industry. Beginnings of a music career. When Vince Gill joined the bluegrass group Mountain Smoke, his musical career took encouraging first steps. After becoming friends with the son of one of his father's colleagues, who was also a bluegrass lover and played the mandolin, Vince, who grew up in a musically active environment, became quite interested in the genre. Vince was a gifted musician in the early 1970s who was ready to take on any task in addition to being a young guy full of enthusiasm. By fusing contemporary components with classic bluegrass sounds, Mountain Smoke provided Vince with a stage on which to demonstrate his talents and quickly hone his musical capabilities. Vince rapidly gained recognition in the music-loving community by playing at local gatherings. Every concert taught him something new and improved his skills while also fostering deep relationships with other artists. Actually, Mountain Smoke used to open for Kiss, a hard rock band. A furious audience yelled and threw things at the stage during one performance, but not all of the gigs went as planned. In response, Vince, always the fearless one, flipped the crowd off before leaving the stage, a career-defining gesture. This action was more than simply a way for him to vent his rage. It was a declaration that he would not put up with rudeness and would defend himself and his band. Soon after, Vince's career took a significant turn for the better when he joined the band Pure Prairie League in 1978. In addition to lending his lovely voice as the main vocalist, Vince helped write songs that connected with listeners. Let Me Love You Tonight, one of the notable singles he contributed to, won over listeners' hearts and solidified Vince's reputation in the music industry. Pure Prairie League, however, was not meant to last forever. Creative disagreements led to the band's ultimate dissolution. Some members preferred to experiment with rock and pop, while others wanted to continue traditional country music. Their peak popularity with songs like Amy and Let Me Love You Tonight came with great expectations from fans in the music business. Thus, the pressure to continue being famous also played a big part. Members were weary and unhappy as a result of the tension. Furthermore, the group's enthusiasm was sapped, and its future was left unclear when a number of members left to pursue solo careers, creating holes that were difficult to fill. Vince was forced to face an uncertain musical future as a result of these difficulties. However, the band's dissolution gave Vince the chance to go solo, which was a daring but dangerous choice. He was aware that going it alone would need him to navigate the music industry with greater challenges than ever before. It wasn't easy in the beginning. Vince had to establish himself in a very competitive field and discover his own style. His tenacity and great enthusiasm prevented him from giving up in spite of the difficulties. In order to be prepared for whatever was ahead, he kept up his hard work, practice, and songwriting. Even though he had a rough beginning to his solo career, his setbacks provided a solid basis for a bright future in music. Career high points and accomplishments. Vince Gill's career reached its zenith in the 1990s when he became one of the leading voices in country music. Vince cemented his position in fans' hearts with a series of #1 songs, including Don't Let Our Love Start Slipping Away and I Still Believe in You. He received an incredible 22 Grammy Awards for his efforts, making him one of the most successful male solo musicians in the history of these esteemed accolades. Each honor served as a reminder of his unwavering commitment throughout the years, as well as a reward for his skill. His career was booming until he received an unexpected call from the Eagles manager, Irving Azoff. Vince has idolized the iconic band since he was a little boy, but he never thought he would have the opportunity to join them. His heart almost stopped when he heard Irving's voice on the other end. They want me to join the band, Vince remembered, feeling both anxious and excited. He was afraid of following in the footsteps of Glenn Frey, one of the legendary founding members who had died, in addition to feeling pride. There was a great deal of pressure to live up to the history of a legend, as well as the expectations of Eagles fans who had loved the team's music for decades. When Vince formally joined the Eagles, he understood that his goal was to uphold Glenn's legacy, rather than just replace him. Finding his own voice while fusing his own style with the band's characteristic sound was essential to his success. I can't be Glenn Frey, but I can honor him by being true to myself, Vince said. With persistence and unrelenting commitment, he progressively established himself in the band, playing well-known tunes and bringing the Eagles' timeless hits to life. Individual life. There has been more to Vince Gill's life than singles and accolades. Light and shade have always been entwined on this trip, which has been full of highs and lows. Every note he plays on his guitar tells a tale of both triumph and the intense suffering that molded the man we see today. The loss of his brother Bob, with whom Vince had many treasured childhood memories, was the worst tragedy of his life. In addition to being Vince's elder brother, Bob was a kindred soul who stoked Vince's love of music. From performing tiny performances at local gatherings to practicing their instruments, they had happy times together. But when Bob lost his life in a terrible vehicle accident that fateful night, everything changed. Bob died when he was only 22 years old while out with friends, leaving Vince with an unfillable hole in his heart. Vince said, "Bob was the first person who showed me what music was," in an emotionally charged tone. Vince struggled to recover himself and his creative motivation after the loss, which was more than simply a shock. Vince felt that he had lost a piece of his soul when his sibling died. He turned to music for comfort because of that agony. Written after Bob's passing, the song Go Rest High on That Mountain was more than simply a song. It was a moving ode to his brother and everyone who had passed away too soon. I wrote that song from my own grief, from the sorrow of loss, he said. Although the words struck a chord with millions of people, They were accompanied by tears and the inner turmoil of a bereaved brother. Vince had to deal with serious financial difficulties in addition to emotional suffering. He tried to protect his financial future by investing in the stock market after years of success, but life had other ideas. Vince made a $500,000 investment in Blue Sky Tech in 2021, only to witness it fail due to a financial crisis. Undeterred, he invested an additional $700,000 in green energy solutions, only to lose $400,000 as a result of legal issues and supply chain interruptions. He lost an additional $300,000 during a market slump after investing $600,000 in cryptocurrency trading, adding to the heartache. But the worst blow was when he invested $1 million in Cyworld Entertainment and $900,000 vanished. Vince said, "Those numbers are unbelievable," in reference to the financial difficulties. His already difficult existence became much more stressful as he worried about his financial future. Together, Vince and his wife, Amy Grant, have overcome several obstacles in life. The most terrifying was Amy's July 2022 bicycle accident. When Vince saw his wife hurt and in need of medical attention, his anxiety became unbearable. He said, "I prayed every day for her recovery," as he thought back on the experience. Vince's resolution and faith in life were reinforced by seeing Amy's perseverance in the face of hardship. "Seeing her fight to heal made me realize that we can get through anything if we're together," he said. In terms of his health, Vince has also had to deal with one of the biggest obstacles of his professional life: serious vocal cord problems. He had surgery in 2016 to address inflammation and vocal cord damage brought on by years of constant singing and pressure. A significant obstacle and turning point in his voice rehabilitation was the operation. For Vince's voice to completely recover, he needed to take time off and go through rigorous rehabilitation. Despite the challenging circumstances, he showed incredible fortitude. Vince worked with music experts to rebuild his voice while concentrating on his recuperation with the help of his family and loved ones. Influence and legacy. Vince Gill has produced songs that have been etched in the hearts of his fans throughout his career. But probably none is as poignant and meaningful as "Go Rest High on That Mountain," which was composed when his brother Bob passed away. The song is a moving tribute to someone who passed away too soon and goes beyond just being a piece of music. Millions of people have been moved by the song's moving lyrics and soft melody, which have made it a symbol of both hope and loss. "Go Rest High on That Mountain" is a spiritual experience as much as a song, enabling listeners to empathize with Vince's loss and sense his deep sadness. Vince found solace and relief from the scars in his spirit via music, which turned into a healing salve. "I wrote that song with all my heart," Vince said. "It was my way of saying goodbye and honoring Bob." The song is a beloved hymn that is often sung at funerals and memorial services because of its capacity to unite universal passion with personal suffering. Vince Gill has left a vast cultural impact that goes much beyond his own creations. In addition to being a notable performer in the country music scene, he serves as an inspiration for upcoming performers. Vince has established himself as one of the greatest voices in country music history, with hundreds of hit songs and more than 20 Grammy Awards. He is an inspiration to other musicians because of his flawless fusion of exquisite guitar technique and a tender, soulful voice, which has produced a distinctive musical style. Vince has also been a trailblazer in pushing the limits of country music by fusing bluegrass and rock elements to produce a novel and unique sound. He has always upheld the traditional traditions of country music via his performances while incorporating originality and inventiveness. His efforts have influenced contemporary country music and opened doors for upcoming musicians. The impact of Vince Gill extends beyond his musical career. He has shown the social duty of an artist by being actively engaged in community service and philanthropic endeavors. Vince has shown via his initiatives that music has the capacity to transform lives and give people hope. His legacy is proof of the ability of music to unite people, inspire mankind, and provide comfort in the most trying times, in addition to being a source of amusement. Present-day life. Vince Gill has solidified his position in the country music industry by maintaining a dynamic and varied musical career to this day. When I think of Christmas as a new Christmas CD that he and his wife, Amy Grant, released in July 2024. The duet Till the Season Comes Round Again, which was published on September 13, 2024, is one of 2 new recordings on this album, which also includes 9 previously released songs. Fans can experience the warmth of the festive season with the album, which is available on CD and digital formats. In addition to his musical endeavors, Vince worked with Jillian Sorelli on the September 2024 release of the song I'll Get Over You. Their connection developed via charity golf games in Tennessee, and the song has received a lot of attention from both the general public and reviewers. Regarding performances, Vince Gill and Amy Grant said that they would be doing 12 shows at Nashville's Ryman Auditorium between November 29th and December 21st, 2024. Audiences may expect personal and emotional musical experiences at this unique event. In addition to his musical career, Vince Gill is well known for his generosity and frequent involvement in humanitarian endeavors. He established the Vin Pro Celebrity Golf Invitational, a yearly charity golf tournament that raises money for Tennessee's kids' golf programs. Vince often plans charity performances to fund homeless assistance groups and animal conservation initiatives. Vince is a fantastic performer and a role model who has a beneficial influence on the community because to his combination of musical skill and generosity. Currently, Vince Gill lives in Nashville, Tennessee, where he has created a cozy and loving home with his wife, Amy Grant, and daughter, Karina. In addition to being their home, Nashville serves as the hub of their creative efforts and musical ambitions, housing a number of projects. According to reports, Vince Gill is worth around $30 million. This remarkable number is mostly the result of his varied musical career, which includes album releases, live appearances, and collaborations with other musicians. Vince Gill has a daughter, Jenny Gill, from his former marriage to Janice Oliver, in addition to his present family. Jenny has provided vocals for a number of her father's CDs, highlighting the love and connection between them. Deep emotion has been a part of Vince Gill's life and work. From personal hardships to remarkable artistic achievements, he has shown that we can overcome life's obstacles with power and tenacity. His family's devotion, particularly that of his wife, Amy Grant, has always been a strong source of support. In addition to attaining the highest level of musical achievement, Vince has made a deep impression on his fans' emotions.